Picture a grizzly bear standing on its hind legs, 10 feet tall. This was a force of nature that commanded immediate reverence and fear across an entire continent, ruling a vast 4 million square mile territory from Alaska all the way down to California. Its dominion was absolute. Its legendary ferocity made it a deity, with a single claw swipe delivering 1,500 psi of force. Scientists are still processing that. And its roar? It carried for over 3 miles, an undeniable announcement of its presence. The bite force reached an astonishing 1,200 pounds per square inch, 10 times stronger than a human punch. Your own dentist would be terrified. Those massive shoulders housed a hump of pure muscle, providing power equivalent to a small car engine. Nature truly went all out. These bears could outrun you easily, hitting 35 miles per hour. That's a football field in under 6 seconds. Your personal best is shaking. Their paws, over 8 inches wide, dug dens big enough to shelter a dozen of us. Quite cozy. While a grizzly's brain weighed about 500 grams, less than a third of yours, who's judging? They forage 20,000 calories a day. Your holiday feast looks like a Dorito. Home ranges spanned over 500 square miles, a lot of real estate to defend. Their sense of smell was so keen, they'd find your forgotten sandwich from nearly 20 miles away. Unmatched. Grizzlies lived up to 30 years, almost half of your average human lifespan, carrying wisdom we can only guess at. Their fat reserves sustained them for 7 months in hibernation, enough energy to power a small village. A true apex spirit surveying its vast wilderness, a profound force of nature. "36,000 years ago, the bear's sacred presence already stretched back, predating even our earliest scribbles. This creature was more than just powerful. It was deeply woven into the spiritual fabric of Native American life, acting as a guide and ancestor. Many tribes believed humans descended from bears, or that bears were powerful spirit guides capable of healing, prophecy, and granting warrior strength. For them, the grizzly was essentially a spiritual CEO, making life or death decisions in the wilderness ecosystem. Vision quests often sought the bear's wisdom, believing its spirit granted healing and warrior prowess. It sounds wild, but shamans could even shapeshift into grizzlies, borrowing their furry forms to hop between worlds. For the Ute people, the annual spring bear dance celebrated their hibernating overlord emerging. A medicine man wasn't just a doctor, he was a spirit world diplomat, with the bear acting as ambassador. Its diet revealed potent healing plants, making it a furry, walking botanical encyclopedia. Invoking its spirit in rituals granted patients the bear's phenomenal recovery abilities. Seriously, its heart rate drops to 8 beats per minute in hibernation. A human's would just stop. Warriors saw the bear as the pinnacle of might. 1 in 10 men joined bear-themed societies. Its claw or tooth wasn't a trophy, but a prayer for a piece of that unshakable spirit. The bear was an elder statesman whose territory demanded respect, not a rug. And its bite force? 1,200 pounds per square inch. Your jaw would simply explode. What kind of world are we looking at without this spiritual titan? In just 150 years, grizzlies suffered a population collapse of over 98%, virtually vanishing from their ancestral lands. When 2 vastly different worlds collided, the grizzly bear found itself caught in a tragic cultural crossfire between reverence and relentless exploitation. To European settlers, this magnificent creature wasn't a spiritual guide. It was classified as vermin, a direct competitor for land and livestock. Their worldview saw the wild not as a cathedral, but a resource to be tamed, logged, and monetized. By the 1850s, state-sponsored bounties offered $5 per grizzly pelt, transforming a sacred being into a simple cash crop. This wasn't merely hunting. It was a systematic campaign of extermination, a velocity of slaughter that scientists today still struggle to model. The Hudson's Bay Company alone traded over 100,000 bear pelts in the 19th century. That number alone fueled a continental slaughter. Explorer Meriwether Lewis, in his 1805 journal, called them very formidable, noting it took 10 shots from his men to kill just one. An estimated 50,000 grizzlies dwindled to less than 1,000 by 1975. The California grizzly, a subspecies weighing nearly 2 Susan pounds, that's as heavy as a small smart car, was hunted into complete extinction. The last one was shot in 1922. A tribal hunt was a close-range spiritual duel, but settlers wielded rifles that could kill a bear from over 300 yards away. Settlers also introduced widespread poisoning, using strychnine-laced carcasses that caused agonizing deaths, not just for bears but for countless other animals too. Over 100 million acres of prime grizzly habitat, roughly the size of California and Oregon combined, were converted to farmland and pasture. From the 1850s to the 1920s, North America's grizzly bear population plummeted by a stomach-churning 98%, vanishing in less than 75 years. Picture a continent that once echoed with their roars, suddenly silent and empty. This relentless march of progress brought ecological devastation at a terrifying speed, erasing a truly dominant presence. In Oregon, for example, grizzlies disappeared entirely within 50 years, a complete regional extinction. California's last known grizzly fell in 1922, ending an 11-year lineage stretching back before all recorded human history. This wasn't just hunting. It was systematic eradication, driven by bounties and a fierce desire to tame the wild. Professional hunters, often hired by cattle ranchers, became incredibly efficient, their targets adult bears and their helpless cubs. Their historical range, a colossal 1,600,000 square miles, shrank by that same 98%, mostly east of the Continental Divide. It's a speed that baffles ecologists today. How did such a dominant species vanish from 48 states in under a century? Grizzlies were vital seed dispersers, contributing to a staggering 30% of forest regeneration, an ecosystem service now lost across their former range. By the 1930s, they were functionally extinct in Washington, Arizona, and New Mexico, clinging to existence in a few tiny, isolated pockets. More than 120 bears were killed for bounties across western states between 1850 and 1920 alone, an unimaginable slaughter creating a profound ecological vacuum. The loss of grizzlies allowed elk populations to surge, critically impacting delicate forest undergrowth, a cascading effect born from their absence. This ecological catastrophe also irrevocably severed the profound spiritual and cultural connection indigenous peoples had with the grizzly. As Dr. Less than 2% of the original grizzly habitat in the lower 48 states remains today. For many tribes, this wasn't just losing an animal. It was the silencing of a spiritual guide, a relative, even a god. The void left behind is staggering, both ecologically and spiritually. Consider streamside trees that derived up to 70% of their nitrogen from ocean salmon, delivered by bears. That's forest building via sashimi, a delivery service nature's always excelled at. Scientists studying indigenous oral traditions uncover detailed knowledge of bear behavior passed down for centuries. The Blackfoot Confederacy saw the bear as a living pharmacy of spiritual power. Its disappearance? It's like watching their most sacred cathedral get demolished, brick by spiritual brick. Chief Dan George lamented this profound loss, stating, "Without the great bear, we are less than we were. We are weakened." Yet, even in near extinction, the bear acts as an ecosystem engineer, digging for roots and aerating soil, a 600-pound biological rototiller running on fury and tubers. Today, fierce debate rages over reintroducing grizzlies to places like the North Cascades, pitting ecological recovery against lingering human fear. But the remaining populations face a genetic cliff. In the Cabinet Yaak, fewer than 50 bears cling to existence, isolated. This represents a tragic loss of intelligence. A grizzly can remember a specific berry patch for over 10 years. Meanwhile, you probably forgot your password yesterday. We went from facing a god to managing a nuisance with pepper spray. It's a comically inadequate epilogue to a 50,000-year-long epic. Still, the spirit persists. A group of young Native American conservationists plant saplings with the faint, ghostly outlines of grizzly bears watching approvingly from the trees.